Hey, it's Devon Eichler from Retirement Wellness SA. Now, at this point in time, I want to congratulate you. You've reached this point where you've made this choice, and that is that you want to retire from the GEPF. If you've not got to that stage where you want to make that decision to retire or resign, then I encourage you to join the Masterclass that I run, in which we compare the difference between the two options and give you direction as to which route is best for you. Now, you'd head on this path to retirement, and there are 5 key secrets that I want to share with you today that are going to help you to position how your retirement is going to work out. In fact, if you plan these 5 secrets meticulously, you are going to put yourself in a position where you are never going to run out of capital. You know that you are keeping your taxes to a minimum. You're also in a position where you've got someone who is going to guide you along the way, step by step through the process. Now, let's head off with each of the 5 options. The first secret that I want to share with you is just centered around your income. So this centers around income. Now, you could be wondering, what is there to talk about? Why is income a secret? Because as you know, now that you're retiring, the income is predetermined by GEPF, meaning they would provide you with the monthly income that you are receiving. And naturally, there's a portion going in tax, there's a portion going toward your medical aid, and then the balance is getting paid into your bank account. So what would be the reason for me to say that this is a secret for you to work on? Well, although the income is predetermined by GEPF, there's a lot of control that you can have over this. What I want you to bear in mind is the income itself is something that is fixed, and GEPF will be determining how much this increases on a yearly basis. So you're not exactly sure as to how much that could increase, and you could have a situation where the increase could be, I'm using an example, 5%. That's an increase of your income, but your expenses are now increasing at 7%. So that's the cost of living. So it could be the fuel price shooting up a bit higher than planned. It could be the your living expenses, groceries. Any of those aspects could increase at a rate higher than what GEPF is providing you from an income perspective. And if that happens, that's going to now eat into the spare capital that you have, the spare monthly income that you have. And that could put you in a bit of a compromised position. So before we get to that stage, before you reach there, I want to guide you on what you need to do in order to make sure that this money can sustain you for as long as you live. So here's the secret. You can start planning on this income in advance. And how you can do this is by analyzing what your monthly expenses are. So you're going to start to look through monthly expenses. Now, it seems pretty basic, but there are a lot of expenses that I've noticed government employees have, and perhaps you do as well, that served you well before retirement. So let's illustrate that. This is now your retirement date. And this is before, and this is after. So you have some expenses that you took up before you retired. And those expenses were needed at that point in time. And now that you are at retirement, there are certain expenses that you might not need going forward. Let's use an example for one of them. A basic example could be disability on your life cover policy. Now, before you retired, you know that if there was a point where you were unable to work, you were not able to receive an income, you needed this lump sum paid from the insurance company. But now that you are retiring, the income that you're receiving from GEPF is going to be running on a consistent basis, whether you are disabled or not, meaning that is certain. See, what's uncertain is whether you would be disabled or not. So you might want to revisit that particular benefit, meaning is it really necessary for you to have disability benefits after retirement age? Or if you're choosing to keep some of it, do you need to have all of this? Do you need to have the entire lump sum? How much do you need? Another need that can change is, remember what you needed earlier before your retirement in terms of, let's say, life cover might have been a lot higher than what your need is now, because perhaps at this point in time when you took out the policy, your kids were much younger, see, and you had a longer time to retirement. So now it's changed. You've come up to your retirement age. The kids are a lot bigger. They're a lot more independent. And again, you want to reassess your need. Now, a caution here. You don't want to just go and cancel all these investments or cancel all your policies. What you want is just getting guidance around it to see what's needed and what's not needed. But again, I'm sharing with you, you can do this exercise well before you actually get to retirement. So then the income that you are receiving, it's the same income from GEPF, but because you've trimmed your expenses here, you now have a lot more disposable income, a lot more spare money, which you could save or just use to enjoy your retirement. But it creates a buffer for you for the future years if your expenses start to increase at a much higher rate. So that's the first secret, it's working through your income itself. The second secret comes in terms of the gratuity that you are receiving. Now, again, I know you're probably feeling, what's the secret about gratuity? Because in terms of gratuity, you might be thinking the amount is predetermined. GEPF gives you the amount, it's taxed, and you receive the balance. Now, there are certain strategies you can put in place now. So again, let's use retirement here. There are certain strategies you can put in place now before your retirement, and those strategies will help you manage this money a lot better after your retirement. Meaning, you want to avoid what I would say is the lotto effect, just getting this lump sum of money and not having a clear plan as to what you want to use that money for. So let's start to make certain things as commitments for yourself. So you could want to make a list of things that you're using, meaning maybe you've got a bond to settle, maybe you want to get a new set of wheels. It could be that you want to do some renovation. It could be that you want to just have some money saved for emergencies. It could be that you want to have money saved aside for travel. So what I want you to do is start to analyze what are the things that you need this money for, and almost in a way commit yourself to spending that. Because one major thing that you've got to factor is this is a one-off lump sum. There's no more of these lump sums coming, which means how you plan for it is quite key. I've often seen cases where members use that lump sum and they haven't paid off the bond. The bond sits as a monthly installment still, and then that's coming out of this income, which eats away the disposable capital. You can avoid that by making sure you're getting your planning done in advance before you reach the stage that you're actually retired and now this money comes into you. So that's going to empower you. Now, the next secret I want to share with you is one that you are looking forward to, I'm sure, which is around tax. Again, you might think, hey, Devin, why would you want to talk about tax? Because from a tax perspective, you can't change the income that you're receiving. You can't change the lump sum that you're collecting from GEPF. Same setup here. In terms of your planning, tax planning, as you've heard me saying in many videos before, needs to be done before your retirement and not after. Meaning there are certain things that you can do to influence the tax that you are going to be paying on both the monthly income that you are receiving as well as the gratuity. So I've helped members where post-retirement, we've put in techniques where we've trimmed the tax. So the tax is a lot less than what they should have been paying. We've also trimmed the tax on the gratuity, which means that as well has been reduced. Now, again, you can only put yourself in that position if you are doing this before retirement. If you wait to retirement and then you start to action or do some tax planning here, it's too late, because once SARS issues what they call a tax directive, that cannot be reversed. So once it's issued, it's cast in stone. You can't go back to say, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't want to pay so much in tax. I need to adjust it. Once you lose it, you lose it. So again, your key here is having this tax planning done in advance. So before you actually get to your retirement date. And then I want to talk to you about something important. Perhaps you might have a spouse, you might have kids or grandkids, and you want to find out, how do you leave a legacy? How do you leave a legacy? As you know, now that you've opted for retirement, with retirement itself, a reduced income is going to go to your spouse. But what if you don't have a spouse? There's nothing that goes on to family members beyond that. There is a way in which it can be passed within 5 years, but there's so much of red tape around financial dependency there. So how do you create this legacy if it's something that is important to you? Again, before we even head into legacy, I first want to make sure that you're never going to run out of money yourself. So once we know that you're never running out of money, it means there will still be money left over when you are not around. So your legacy planning could involve multiple things. You could look into life cover policies that could cater for that. You could have savings that you have. You could have investments. You could even have property. But when we focus on the legacy planning, one of the key aspects that I want to pay attention to is at that point in time that you're not around, what are the tax implications on these plans? See, what's the tax implications on each of these? Because if a big chunk of your money gets lost to tax, then you're leaving behind a smaller amount, less than what you would have liked to have been left for your kids or grandkids, or again, even just your spouse. And I also just want to see how comfortable you are that this chunk is then getting paid over to SARS if it's from a tax perspective. Once more, you can plan all of this in advance. And the last secret I want to share with you is gaining access to one of the most important things I would say, which is the right specialist. You might feel at this point in time, you don't need access to a financial advisor or a financial planner because of the fact that you are retiring. GEPF is now paying the income. GEPF is paying you the gratuity. They're tending to all of these things. But from a financial planning perspective, you need someone who's going to hold your hand and guide you around tax. You need someone who's going to hold your hand to guide you around the income and just making sure that this can sustain itself for as long as you live and you don't reach a stage where your expenses are more than the income. You also need someone who's going to guide you on a legacy perspective and be able to continue this journey when you are not around. So there are many reasons that you want to have a specialist. And one of the key factors here that I believe is with the right advice, it pays for itself. Not just that, with the right advice, it will add to your wealth, meaning your wealth can actually increase. And that could increase by investment return. It could increase just by creating a saving for you on a tax perspective. But it's also going to provide you with something that we can't put a price on, and that is peace of mind. See, you're going to have someone who is going to be there to support your family when you're not around. And this is why having the right specialist is a key ingredient in your recipe for success. So I hope you found this incredibly insightful. I want to hear from you which of these 5 techniques you feel is the most appealing one, which is the one that you want to pay most attention to. Or if there's an order that you want to work through this, share with me what the order is. So post a comment below and let me know. If you found the video helpful, please click the thumbs up sign. And if you have not already done so, please click subscribe so that you get to watch these videos as soon as we put them out.